Hey everyone! Let's see if this is working. I am psyched to be back with you guys. I felt we needed to have a chat, and I just want to make sure everything's working. Fine. Hey, I see you guys in the chat. Let's go. Hey everyone. How's it going? So I'm gonna wait for all of you to get here as we just went live, and I know it's been a few weeks, guys. I apologize, but I'm still getting the hang of this. And as you guys see, I really work quite hard on the shorts, so that's kind of been the focus. But I felt after this massive week, and you saw how depressed I was and happy, depressed, all the ups and downs is what it's like being a football fan. And I just wanted to talk through it all with you guys today. I wanted to talk about FSG. I want to talk about George Schmadtke. I want to talk about Michael Edwards. I want to talk about the defensive midfield signings. I want to talk about center back. I want to talk about all of it. Obviously, see you guys all in the chat. So thank you for the support. I see you all. Please let me know where you're watching from, and I will give your countries and you guys shout outs. But the big thing today, guys, and please, if you have questions as well, send them in because I am going to be doing polls too. But I really felt that I had to express, how I'm feeling about the whole situation because this feels like the most the deciding next 2 weeks that will change everything in terms of if we sign a quality defensive mid and a center back, I think we can go and compete at the highest level. But then if we don't, the opposite. So that's why I think it's important that we talk about all of these different issues. But first, I just want to give a big up to everyone in the chat because I'm seeing you're from all over the world. So I'm going to shout out some of your countries because to me, this is the most beautiful part about Liverpool Football Club. You guys just putting a smile on my face. Kenya, Poland, Egypt, America, Minnesota, America, Dubai, South Africa, Norway, South Africa, Hungary, where Sobostai is from, Germany, England, okay, Kenya, Uganda. See, guys, this is just incredible. The fact that we, as football fans, as a Liverpool family, are from all over the world. India, Ukraine, France, the best. Yes, we have France too. Big up to everyone. The diversity in the comments right now is just, see, this is the energy, and wow, this is what football and Liverpool Football Club is all about. Shout out to all of you watching from all over the world because this is just special. From India, but a Bournemouth fan. Wow, I wonder what you, how you found this channel. Hey everyone, shout out Nigeria, India, Somalia, Zambia, Finland. Wow, you guys, it's just incredible. It's just incredible. I could go on all day, but as you guys see in the comments, this is what makes this football club, I think, so special. It's the fact that we really are from all over the world, and that's what I want this channel to be about down the line. I'm going to create more content and work really hard, guys, to try to tell that story from a more international point of view because there's loads of channels that are based in Liverpool, but I don't feel like there's enough telling the outside story because I'm obviously not from Liverpool. I'm from France. I'm from Iceland, and also the US. I lived there for part of the time. That's why you hear this accent. But guys, oh, we have Mars too. Big up. But that's something I wanted to mention, and I hope that you guys will see more and more of that on the channel, which is trying to tell those stories because I think that's what makes Liverpool Football Club so special. But now to get yes, Sina, I remember you. But now, guys, to get onto the different talking points that I wanted to mention, and please send over your questions because I'm already seeing some defensive mid options in the comments. But guys, I wanted to go through a few different talking points that I felt I couldn't express in a short because it's really difficult. Thank you, Milo. And that's first, I want to touch on this past week with what happened with Caicedo and Lavia and how we missed out on both of those signings. But I really want to talk about a bigger issue where, yes, it felt like a massive blow to miss on both of those players because I do think they would have come in and made a massive difference right away, and they're exactly what we needed. But at the same time, I think there's a bigger issue behind the scenes within management where usually we would get our deals done early. And that's the thing about FSG is for many years of the 8 years that Klopp has been in charge, I'd say 6 of those years we managed the market extremely well. We were the smart ones. We were making those intelligent signings that had so much potential that were on the up. And now it feels like we're the polar opposite. And that's what, I want to talk about, which is difficult to understand because everybody's saying, "Oh, FSG out, FSG out," and I understand the frustration and I can understand wanting FSG out, but I do want us to take a step back and just see how the model that we were running before was sustainable. We were making signings, like the Mo Salahs, from Roma at that time. Not many clubs were looking for him. I'm saying the top clubs because of the time he had at Chelsea, and it's true he was on the rise at Roma, but no one thought he would get to the levels that he has today, and that's a big thanks to Michael Edwards and the whole scouting department that was happening behind the scenes. And there's countless examples of players that came to Liverpool and Klopp brought them to the next level. But of course, Klopp doesn't have the time to scout all these players. He's managing the squad, managing the game. Like there's so much you have to do as a manager that of course he can't be the one scouting and negotiating, for the fees of these players. And that's why the behind the scenes is so important. And that's Ado. I've seen what you just put there, Schmatke out. And that's like again, I don't want to be negative, but there's a clear lack of knowledge and know-how compared to when we had Michael Edwards and Julian Ward in charge. And now we have Schmatke, who, let's be real, when you look at his track record, it's not that impressive. We're Liverpool Football Club. We should be going for the best in the world. And that to me is the biggest issue. Where in the past, I really think before preseason, we would have gone the key deals. We knew before we sold Fabinho that we needed a CDM to come in. We needed fresh legs. And for us to still not have made that signing is crazy to me. That's crazy. And that's the bigger frustration. You saw, of course, how excited I was about the possible Caicedo signing. He's my dream. But again, do Liverpool need that? Is that how we've been doing it in the past? Not necessarily. We can sign players who are on the up and ready to develop, which Alavia, for example, we could have done. Okay. And that can make a massive difference. But to say that we need to spend 111 million pounds or 150 million pounds on a player and that's all that's possible is crazy. You guys know what I mean? And so I feel like the real big issue is needing to replace that sporting director, which again, the good news is I feel like that to me is smaller than the thing of like changing ownership, because I know maybe a lot of you, and that's the next poll I want to put out is, are you guys FSG in or FSG out? All I'm going to say, guys, is instead of this negativity of FSG out, and I understand I'm so frustrated at FSG, listen, and I'm so critical of FSG, but let's think about those 6 years we had under Klopp where we were the best in the market. We found all those clever signings to develop and make them into world-class players like we did with Saudio, with Mo. There's just countless examples. And so FSG is our ownership. So what I'm trying to say, guys, is I know most of you, I mean, actually, if I run a poll, most of you will be FSG out 100%, and I can understand. But what I think is the bigger issue is the sporting director and the team around the sporting director. Because from what I've read, it's not just one person. Michael Edwards was never alone. He has 6, 7 people apparently around that helped him through the process of the scouting, negotiating everything, because it's a big job for Liverpool Football Club. So what I want to run as a poll, guys, is what's the bigger issue behind the scenes? FSG or the sporting director? That's what I want to hear from you guys, because I'm going to be honest. Again, I'm so critical of FSG, but I really do believe that the sporting director is something that we can fix in the short term, because let's be real, we're Liverpool Football Club. We should be able to bring in a top sporting director, right, guys? And so to me, you saw the way we were run before, and that's what I want an answer to. And Jamie Carragher said it on Sky Sports not long ago. We need answers as to why Julian Ward, who was supposed to take over from Michael Edwards, why he stepped down 6 months after taking that important role. There was that transition period where we all thought, oh, it's all going to run smoothly because Michael Edwards is the GOAT, right? And he trained and got Julian Ward ready for a whole year for that transition to run smoothly. And then out of nowhere, 6 months in, Julian Ward just quits, just leaves with no explanation. And that's where I'm like, we need an explanation for that, because to me that was the critical moment. That was the critical moment because let's be real, FSG's model was working very well in terms of our scouting or recruitment. Like, we didn't need to be at Manchester City. We didn't need to be at Chelsea. We didn't need to offer 9-year contracts to these 21-year-olds. Like, that's ludicrous in my mind. And I actually love that we were the clever ones in the market. And again, now I'm totally against being clever, right? We have 2 weeks left in the window. If we have to spend 60, 70 million on Doucouré, like, do it. Because if we miss out on top four again, like Alisson, Virgil, Salah, like, these players can't stick for 2 seasons of us not being in the Champions League. That's just not possible, right? And so, guys, sorry if I'm going on a little tantrum, but I really felt I needed to express this because, like, again, and I'm going to read more and more of your comments. I needed to put this out there because a lot of you in the comments, and rightly so, in the shorts, I see that you're like, Leo, why aren't you expressing FSG out? Why aren't you aggressive? Why aren't you getting the fan movement going? And, like, again, I'm very critical. You've seen how much I push for signings. I'm critical of FSG, and I think FSG have a lot they need to improve on. But for me, the number one thing right now, more than changing ownership, because we're seeing with United, the club is worth 4 billion now. A transition in ownership takes years. And guess what? We have 3 years left of Klopp. So, in my opinion, the priority needs to be finding a top tier sporting director that comes in. And I know Michael Edwards won't be easy to replace, right? I'm realistic, but there are top tier sporting directors. Just look at the business Brighton's doing, right? So, to me, it's like that's the bigger issue right now than the ownership. And again, I will be critical of ownership, but to say FSG out, guys, the thing about FSG out is we have to remember a transition in ownership takes years, right? It's not smooth, and it's difficult, right? So, to me, Klopp is everything. And if Klopp is everything, he has 3 years left. So let's honor that. Let's make sure that this summer we were not clever anymore, right? We put pressure on not being clever and just getting the signings. And that's what I want to talk about next. Sorry if I just went on a tantrum and I waffled on and on and on, but it seems like you guys still think that the bigger issue is FSG, and definitely they're very much correlated because FSG are the ones that actually hire the sporting director and the team around there. So I agree, but again, I still want us to think about when we say FSG out, just what that means, because it's more complicated than that. And again, I really think we need to think in the short term, because Klopp is only here for 3 years. What can we make sure happens now? First off, finishing this transfer window on a high, because we can and we need to, and then finding a top tier sporting director because we're Liverpool Football Club. There it is. That's what I had to say. Okay. And now I'm gonna read your comments, because what I want the conversation to shift to, which is absolutely instrumental as well, is what signings do we need to make now? Because, like I said before, there are two positions that, like, no matter what, we need to go big on. And first off, obviously, defensive mid, but then also a center back, because we saw against Chelsea that that's clearly a position that we need not just more depth in, because we're going to be in Europa League and loads of competitions this season in case of an injury, but then also Robbo. I love Robbo, but he's not accustomed to this new system where when we're in possession, we play a 3-4-3. We play three at the back when we're in possession. And so Robbo definitely needs competition. He needs time. Of course, he needs time to get adjusted to that position because he's used to playing that fullback role, right? Where he just bombards forward. Well, that's not what he is anymore. And yeah, so guys, sorry. Now what I want to do is read more of your comments. And geez, Debs Disney Desk, thank you so much for the donation. That's really, really kind. And I'm gonna read your comment. So you said I live here in Liverpool, so born and bred Scouser. Everyone here says the same. We messed up. Now we move quick for Turam, Kone, and Gravenberch for me. You'll never walk alone. Couldn't agree more. We messed up, right? It's clear that we messed up and we didn't move quick enough in this window. We didn't prep, but what we need to make sure is get our business done now so that we can finish in the top four minimum because that's massive for the team for in terms of revenue, but also in terms of keeping our best players. But then also making sure that during the season we find a long-term sporting director who's the best in the business because we're Liverpool Football Club. We're Liverpool Football Club, guys. Thank you, Lone. So, guys, the first thing I'm going to ask, and again, I'm going to be more interactive with you guys because I see all of your comments, but I just wanted to put that out there, kind of my opinion on FSG and the sporting director situation. But now I'm going to see more of your comments because love you, Salim. Thank you, Tommy. So, first thing, guys, that I want to hear, and I'm going to mention the different ones that you bring up, is a center defensive mid. Let's go through the options because, again, we have 2 weeks left. It is absolutely a position that we need to strengthen in and that we will. So we're going to look at the different options. As you saw in the thumbnail, the two that I included that I think would be really good signings because they wouldn't need to adjust as much because they know the Premier League is Palinha from Fulham and Doucouré from Crystal Palace. Those are two destroyer type defensive mids that I think we need to replace Fabinho that have fresh legs and yeah. So guys, I'm going to read Sarah Wilson, thank you for the support. Football Edits, how's it going? So, guys, that's why I want to hear right now your defensive mid positions. And one that is most definitely one to look out for is as well Tyler Adams. So, I've heard about that rumor and that he's available for £20 million from Leeds. But he's more of one that I would want as a squad player, right? It seems like he can play quite a few positions. He can actually play right back too. I remember, when I used to live in New York, he played for Red Bull. He came up from the Red Bull Academy and he played a right back there. So he's one that can actually slot in a right back, can play defensive mid, can play holding mid. So he can play a number of positions. And I think it could be a smart signing for £20 million for depth because we need depth right now. We have the smallest squad in the league. So Tyler Adams, 100% I wouldn't be against if he's just as a squad player because defensive mid, we need somebody who comes in, makes the difference from day one. That's what it needs to be. Okay, guys? Danville Duncan, thank you for the donation. Thank you very much. Where are you from? So your comment is FSG to stop begging prem teams for players. Go to other leagues for these players. Firmino came from nowhere. Well, he came from Hoffenheim from the Bundesliga. But yeah, definitely Danville. What I agree, but then here's the other thing. I think on the other hand, I agree for depth and for taking a risk on players. So, for example, Andre, the midfielder that we've been linked with from Brazil, take a risk. If this guy's that highly rated in Brazil, take a risk. He's young, right? But then I also think we need Premier League experience because we need a player right now that there was no preseason. The player has to come in right now and start from day one. That's the reality. Like as much as I love and rate Bajetic super highly, we can't put all of our trust in him when he's 19 years old. That's just not fair on him. And we're going to be in so many competitions between Europa League, the two domestic cups, and the Premier League that he'll get loads of playing time. That's not a worry. But I do think we need to make sure we get a defensive midfielder that comes in and from day one can make an impact and adjust to the league quickly and our team. Because again, we did our business way too late. We won't have preseason. They'll need to slot in like that. That's just the reality of our situation now. Like we've already played our first Premier League game. It's a disaster. Faisal, thank you. So I'm hearing Kimmich. So guys, Kimmich, here's the thing I would say about Joshua Kimmich from Bayern. All right. So first off, top player. Obviously, he's world class. He's won the whole lot. He's done it at the highest level for a very long time. The only thing I would say about Kimmich, and by the way, the positive about Kimmich is he can always play right back. So the really great thing about Kimmich is he could always slot in into Trent's role or defend more when Trent goes more forward. But what I will say is the only thing about Kimmich is I think we need a destroyer type defensive mid, like I said with Palinha and Doucouré. And Kimmich just isn't that. Kimmich is a beautiful footballer, can strike the ball, can pass, like really technical, but he's not the tackler that Fabinho was, the Flacco was in our midfield, and that's what I think we need, and that's the only thing I would say about Kimmich, and hence why I think he's not exactly what we need, in my opinion, at least. Amrabat, on the other hand, Blockhead says Amrabat from Fiorentina. We saw what he could do, obviously, for Morocco at the World Cup. He was superb for Morocco, and he has the legs. Like, he was just all over the pitch, and that's exactly what we need. I have to be honest. I don't watch, the Serie A. I don't watch the Italian league, so I don't know how he is week in week out. But I've heard that he had a really good season in at Fiorentina. He's available relatively cheap, from what I'm hearing. It's 35 million to 40 million euros, which is around 30 million pounds. Take that risk. He, like, again, he's more experienced than Lavia, and he is that type player that has the legs, that's more of a tackler, that can pass as well. So I think Amrabat is a real good option. That time when we were linked with a number of players, I think it was Calvin Phillips, it was a few players, and I remember that he was the one that excited me the most, not just because of the World Cup, because you can't just obviously base it off the World Cup. He was superb at the World Cup, but just the fact that he looks like a Liverpool player, if that makes sense. He really looks like a Liverpool player, and and he's someone that I think could slot in. And again, because of the price, when you consider his price compared to Caicedo, he's a third of the price of Caicedo. So if we do indeed have that money, then we could get him and another defensive mid and take the risk, because we have to. Like, it's too late in the season to try to get the perfect player. It's just not realistic at this point. And so then, why didn't we go for Ugarte? That's a great question. That PSG signed. That's one that I'm really, really pissed about, because when we were highly linked to him, I was watching. Sorry, not watching, because I don't love to watch clips. If I'm honest, guys, when we're linked to players I haven't watched, what I usually do is I talk to, like, journalists from that country, or fans of that country, or fans of the team that player plays for. And what I love about that is they watch that player week in, week out. So they'll tell me more of the honest truth than, like, highlights on YouTube. So that's what I tend to do. And I remember Ugarte is one that I asked, fans in Portugal, and they all told me this guy is top. He's like, I think he's only 21 years old, and he already was one of the best players in Portugal. And they were like all saying he comes into the Premier League and he'll make a difference from day one. And he's one that I was so excited about, because I really thought he was realistic. Even if he, had a price of between 60 and 70 million euros, he'd be on low wages. He's exactly the type of FSG signing, and I thought he'd be perfect. So that, for me, why we didn't go for him is a big mystery, because he was available at the beginning of the summer when we could have had preseason with him. But again, I just think in life there's no point in having regrets, because it's done. He's at PSG now. Like, why waste time on him when it's over? But Bolaji, I agree that when I think back on Ugarte now and I see the defensive mid market, it really is a mysterious one as to why we didn't give a try. Because I do think if we had gone in for him at the same time as PSG, he would have chosen us, because he would have been a starter, and PSG is in big trouble. Like, they're just not a great team. So, and like, all their star players left this summer. So Mesam is here. Welcome to the building. How are you, mon gars? Moi, je vais super bien, et toi? So what do you think about Kefren Turam and Manu Kone? So, guys, that's another two players that we were linked at the beginning of the window. And I have to say, Kefren Turam is probably the one that I want the most. Again, he's not a traditional center defensive mid. He's more of a number 8, and that's a bit of the problem. But if we can sign a defensive mid and Turam, then it's my dream, because Turam, from what I've seen, heard, is that, first off, I checked the statistics. He's always fit. He's missed like 2 games his entire career, and they were due to playing too many games. So he's perfect. He has the legs. Like, it's exactly what we need. And he's really complete. Like, he can dribble. Like, he barely has any weaknesses. But again, is he that destroyer type defensive mid? Maybe. Not sure. From what I've heard, not so sure. But I would love him as a player that we can have as a player that can kind of play that holding midfield role, that defensive kind of play all over, because we're going to need it this season. We don't have the depth and the legs in midfield, so we need that. So I would love Kefrem Turam, not as our main defensive mid signing, but again, for depth in midfield, and he's still young. French international top player. It seems like Nice will be asking for 60 million euros. So again, when you look compared to Caicedo, it's worth it given how highly rated he is in Ligue 1. And then Manu Kone, again, more of a defensive mid from what I've heard, and he seems like more of the type of player that we need. But he just got injured, during the international break, and I think it might scare our scouting department because of the injury problems that we have. So honestly, that's a big could be a big scare, the fact that he was just injured and the injury worries that we have, you know. Exactly. Thuram is more of a box to box midfielder. That's probably what I would say. Sarah Wilson, thank you. And so Nanoplex. Pin. Um, so let's keep going through the names. So Chumeni, not even going to talk about him because he's not interested in joining Liverpool and he much prefers playing for Real Madrid. So he's definitely not an option. Um, yes, I am French, indeed. So again, Valverde would cost so much money, and is he that defensive mid that we need? No. And same with Matheus Nunes. Matheus Nunes is technical. He's a really good midfielder, but he's more of like something we need after that defensive mid position. That's the one that we need right away. Because if I bet all of you watched right our game against Chelsea, and what excited me so much about that game is McAllister and Soboslai. You can tell right away they're top class players, right? They're top. Like you see their passing, you see Soboslai dribble. When he dribbled into the box and nearly scored, but then Jota took the shot like that. Those moments, you could tell these are two quality players. But if we don't have a defensive mid who's gonna do the dirty work behind them, because they're clearly not that, then we're not gonna get the best out of those two class signings we made this summer, and that would be such a shame and such a disgrace because we had all this time to sign a defensive mid. So again, I'm going to go back to this, guys. I'm going to go back to it. That's what we really need. So Sangare, yeah. So Madio Sane says Sangare is only 25. He's another option from PSV, right? Relatively young, has experience, plays in the Dutch league, so it's a little bit more of a risk, but at the same time, apparently he's more of that destroy type player. I haven't gone to watch him much, but that's what I've heard at least. So he could be an option, and I heard he has a release clause of 32 million pounds. So definitely an option. Thank you, Team Ronaldinho. Um, oh, here. So here, Soboslai is an incredible D23. Soboslai is an incredible talent. That midfield would have been perfect with a defensive mid. That's exactly what I was saying. Would have won that game if Fabinho was in the team. Oh, don't even. And that's another thing. Like, how could this team? How could the management have sold Fabinho without having any clue about who they were going to replace him with? I think that's a disgrace. Like seriously, the fact that not only were we already supposed to sign a defensive mid, but then also when we sold our only defensive mid, we didn't even have any idea as to who's going to replace him, and that's really not good. Zach FC, thank you. That means the world. Seriously. And Didi, is another example where he didn't have the best season, last season with Leicester because obviously they got relegated. So not the best season for all of them, but for a lot of seasons, NDD was class for Leicester, and he is more of that tackler defensive mid. So he could be an option. Like I don't know why, for example, we didn't look at him because I think he would be available relatively for cheap because I don't see other clubs wanting him. So another name I see mentioned a lot is Florentino Luis from Benfica. Again, I'm going to be honest, I've never watched him play. I think I watched him play once, and he didn't leave like a mark on me necessarily. But what worries me is I've heard from Benfica fans that he's not a starter week in week out for them, and that tells you everything. Like I said before, we're already into the season. Like we can't be signing a guy who can't start for Benfica. Like it's just not possible. Like maybe if he's like a one for the future, and he's another one that we signed. But from what the price tag seems to be, he would need to start right away, and we need someone who will start right away. Thank you, Lone77. That means a lot. So shout out to you. And Abdul, thank you. Mo Salah 11, we're forgetting Stefan Bajetic. No, we're not forgetting Stefan Bajetic. And if you would have seen on this channel, I've done numerous videos on him, like giving him massive, up for the next season and just credit because I think he's like alongside Ben Doki's the youngster I'm most excited about, and I do think he can be a starter for us. But again, to say and trust a 19-year-old to say, oh, you're going to be the starting defensive mid, which is crucial in the way that we play with the high line. To say, look, a 19-year-old kid has to be like almost like the backbone of our team is not fair on him. And we saw last season when we overplayed him, he picked up an injury. So that just would be dumb in his development. And like I said before, with the Europa League, the cup competitions, and the Premier League, he's going to get loads of playing time. That's not a worry. But to say, oh, when we play Newcastle in 2 weeks away from home, right? Like we can't put that on his shoulders. It's just not fair for a player with, the amount of games that he's played at the highest level. Like it's just not realistic. So F1 GI. So all the rumors on Alisson and Mo Salah I've asked around are completely fake. Like it's just like stuff to get attention from people. Gavin DD, thank you so much. Thank you. Antars Gaming, that's so sweet. And Ado, I actually don't have like a Leo's Goals Twitter, but it's under the name Liverpool Goals because I don't know if you know Liverpool Goals from Instagram, but that's also a page that I started on Liverpool. With Auto Prime, how many Liverpool jerseys do you have? A whole lot, and the background is just a collection of Liverpool shirts. But I'll show you guys. I love going back to this one because this is my first ever Liverpool shirt. Look how tiny. Oh, throwback. I really, really miss the Adidas days. Like I look back on a lot of our shirts from the Adidas days, and they were just so like beautiful. I wish we could get them back. Uzi, thank you, and Faisal, thank you. Oh, Hamza, that's really sweet. Seriously, tennis zone. Did you on Liverpool goals? It's much rarer that I see messages just because there are a lot of messages on there. But if you want to send a message in the chat now, I'll see it. So, were you a Liverpool fan since birth? No, I wasn't. I don't come from a family that likes football, and it was Istanbul that changed all of that. And since then, I've just like lived for Liverpool. So, guys, I'm honestly so done with this football club. That's how I felt in the past week, Ken and Potter. That's 100%. Oh, Yon. Sorry, it's Yon77. Shout out to you. My bad on that. Love you too, Dan, bruh. I think we should sign a left-sided center back 100%. That's another position that we need. And it seems like Inacio is a possibility on that front. Hey Leo, what's your news on Marco Verratti? Marco Verratti is not one I would want that much because of the high fee it would take for him. He's quite old, injury prone, and he's not that destroyer type defensive mid. He's not someone I would want at the club. Fahad, thank you. Yes, Mohammed, I really want to do more live streams and I will be doing more. It's just right now I'm kind of in a period of transition, but just know, guys, that there's going to be a whole lot more content coming because of your amazing support. It just gives me the energy. And hopefully, if the channel keeps growing, then I'll be able to, get help. And that just means that more and more content will be able to be put out. So every time you guys support the channel, just know that it not only means the world, but it really means that, more content will be created and just our community will grow even larger. So it all feels very special. And just know that I'm going to be putting a lot more time into the channel as well because right now I'm also working another job, but I'm going to be able to hopefully drop that the more the channel grows, and that's the goal. I always come straight to your channel every day. Oh, thank you, Frozen Thunderbolt. That really means everything. Seriously. Do you think Matip should leave? I think he should only leave if we get like a if we get a bid in for him because he's leaving on a free next summer. So like unless we get some money, which I don't really think is gonna happen, then we gotta see. Who do you think is the best defensive mid we can sign? Oof, that's a tough one. Based on what's available in the market, I think what I put on the thumbnail, at least for me, in terms of what's available and in terms of what we need, what will come in and make a difference from day one, is Doucouré or Palhinha. And I know their prices will be inflated because they're in the Premier League, but I think we need to buy something right now where we're sure they can adjust to the league as soon as possible. And both of those players for me are still young enough. Obviously, Doucouré much younger, but I think they can both make a difference kind of real quick, and that's what we need. God, you guys seriously, you guys are the best. You guys are the best. Thank you. Like all of the support I'm seeing just is incredible. Thank you, LFC England 23. It's just like I told you guys, like every time you have this energy and you give the support, it's just going to mean that, not only I put more time into it, but work harder to bring the best possible content. So seriously, thank you. Salam 527. Thank you, Calypsis. Leo, do you think we'll be a top for this season? It really depends if we sign that defensive mid and left-sided center back first, and then I think we need a right back too. But those are the main things. Seriously. Aron Stein from Iceland. I'm also Icelandic. Quasere. Algot. Amazing life. Oh, thank you, brother. You're subscribed to me. Are you Mr. Sleepy Leo? I'm not Mr. Sleepy Leo. I'm sorry. FB2S. No, CISO, Quaza. I'm going into hibernation. I went into hibernation for a day and then I needed to get back to it. That's what happened. So just because we have so much unfinished business to do, it just had to we had to bounce back. We had to bounce back, and I do believe, guys, that we're gonna make two signings because clearly we have the 110 million pounds to spend, and there's no way Klopp is willing to go into this new season with our current squad. Like we literally have the smallest squad in the Premier League. Like that's impossible with Europa League on Thursdays. Like it's crazy. Shashikant, you any good at football in real life? Let's see. In the future, I would like to do some football challenges so you guys will be able to see and judge for yourselves. More rides, thank you. Do you think Liverpool's old sporting director will ever come back? Omar, I really, really hope Michael Edwards comes back, and if not, Julian Ward, because Julian Ward learned a lot from him. So I just really hope he comes back. Or again, like I said in the beginning of the stream, if you guys weren't there at the beginning of the stream, guys, then you would have seen what I think about FSG and the sporting director. But I think it's so important that we bring in a new sporting director. Because let's be real, George Schmacke has been a disaster. The only two signings he's made were release clauses, McAllister and Soboslai, and that any sport director on the planet can do because there's no negotiation. You pretty much, if that player wants to join, then you just trigger that release clause and they're on their way. There's no like being clever in that. Um, so and also to get a sporting director in the short term, never a good sign. It just shows that we don't really know what we're doing. You know, who's your favorite Liverpool player? From unknown, that's hard to say, but I gotta say, in the Klopp era was Bobby Firmino, and that's why seeing him leave was real emotional. Dylan, thank you, and more, thank you. Ah, I'm Spoon. You're the best. You are the best. So, our RP/gaming. Love your videos. Thank you, brother. And we need someone with experience like Kimmich. Yes, we need someone with experience, but like I said before, I don't think Kimmich is that destroyer type player, and that's why Kimmich for me isn't what we need. He's not what we need, but obviously would be a top signing. Yekos? I'm not good with accents. That's why I don't do accents. McGinn is an underrated player, but I know Villa would ask for so much money. Thank you, Cillian. We need a classic Brexit player, which is rare. Yeah, with the homegrown situation. Yeah, I thought I was going into hibernation. Michael 102. The reason I did the delay for a minute is because, as you can see, like I'm already struggling to get to your comments, and I want to get to all of you. So that's why it's like this right now, and I think it's the best way to get to all of your comments. But I do think that we mentioned like a lot of the different, you know, defensive mid options, and that's why I'm gonna ask you guys again because I want to run a poll on all the players. Well, so guys, what's the bigger issue behind the scenes? You guys do think FSG is the much bigger issue, and it's true that it is FSG that appoints the sporting director, so it really directly relates to them. And 1,300 of you voted, so wow. Goats edits, thank you. I want to run another poll to see who you guys want most, but let me know in case I forget someone. Guys, I'm starting a poll right now on the defensive mid options that are available on the market and that could be decent. So I'm doing Amrabat, Palinha, Dukure, and then for the third option, let me know because those are the three that come to my mind right now. Dukure, and I'm gonna add a fourth option. Sangar, yeah, actually, the PSV midfielder is one that I've heard as being linked for a while, and I'm I'm curious to see who you guys want most because I think a lot of those names are kind of interchangeable, but I'm just curious to see because these I'd say are kind of names that are being mentioned a lot, and I know some of you said Kimmich. I know some of you said Kimmich, but again, I don't think he's that destroyer type player. So that Brighton, yeah, gaming zone. You saw the short that I did on the Brighton. I was like, whoever Brighton targets, let's just get that player because our scouting team at the moment is just a disaster. Ah, Samuel Olabisi, thank you so much for the donation. It means everything. Thank you. Who would you sign, Samuel? So, guys, the poll has started, and wow, Amrabat from Fiorentina, the Moroccan midfielder, is really winning. How much money would be the most you would spend on a DM? I mean, to be honest, if I put like still angry, I have to be honest, Caicedo, like you guys saw the videos and the reactions that I had, and I gotta be honest, guys, like Caicedo was my dream. Caicedo was the one that for months and months and months, and I really believe Klopp wanted him 6 months ago. Like I really think he would have been that player that comes into our side, just like Virgil when he came in, he changed everything. I rate Caicedo that highly. Anyways, I don't want to talk about him anymore, but I do think he was worth the money. That's how highly I rate him. Anyways, how much money would be the most? Again, it depends who it is. If it's Chumeni from Real Madrid, let's say somehow he was interested in joining, then a whole lot because he's the type again that would come in and make a massive difference. But then if you're talking about Palinha, who's like 27 years old, then not more than 60, 70 million because that's just not smart business, and it would just be so crazy otherwise. Um, but yeah, so it really depends on the player. Carp Fishing Yoda, thank you for the donation. So you said Chumeni or Gravenberch? Chumeni for sure is the dream. Again, many reliable reports. David Ornstein just reported, I think it was either this morning or yesterday, that he wants to stay at Real Madrid. No chance it happens. They want to keep him. Gravenberch, again, he's that Kefrem Turan type signing, in my opinion. That's box to box, but not a defensive mid, not a destroyer type player. So I don't think he's the priority right now, like I said. But if we get that defensive mid signing and then we get Gravenberch, wow, I would be over the moon because I rate him. It's just, again, that can't be the priority for us right now. So I'm looking at the poll. There's 337 votes so far, and I see that Amrabat is leading comfortably at 43%. So wow, that's maybe I got to do a video on him, guys, because clearly he's the favorite option. And Cameron says, who do you think is the most realistic option? I think out of those four, that's why now we have to be realistic. There's 2 weeks left in the window. Those four options I think I put in the poll are all realistic in terms of they would cost less than 70 million, all of them. And all of them are in within that age group, which is 28 and younger, right? I think. Wait, let me check Paulinha. 28 and younger, which is what FSG is the type of players they would sanction. Okay, so Paulinha just turned 28 in July, so he just turned 28. But I would still say he fits within the mold of what FSG like deem acceptable for like the type of players that they sign. Because I would say Thiago is really like it's rare that we go big on a player who's quite old. Like Thiago, yes, it's true we did it for him, but yeah, 25 or younger. Sir Guy Man Lab, the job I work at is at a hotel. I do like reception and like a bar at the moment. So that's what I do right now. But like I said, the dream is to be able to do this full time and bring even more content for you guys. So if you could share the channel, like, share, whatever. Honestly, I don't know YouTube that well, but however you guys can help grow the channel and you guys are already like doing so much for that, like helps so much because that's the dream. And I'm telling you that I'll be able to bring so much more content if the channel keeps growing. So big up to everyone. And yeah, you guys saw the cup. The cup is quite big, but I love to drink water. Salim says, water again. Yay, water is the funniest part. Stay hydrated, guys. I drink liters and liters of water because it's so important. Seriously, it's the most important thing in life, in my opinion, and sleep. If there's any way that you can take care of yourself, I will say those two things are the biggest life changing. And like prioritizing sleep and water to hydrate, I think is number one. Lel Werewolf, what's your joke? Let's hear it. Oh, I would love to join. Hashtag Milner back yet. Oh, soon, guys, soon. That's going to be the level of desperate state that we'll be in. Arid, the live is about the defensive mid signing right now because that's just the priority. Prax97, thank you for the donation. Thank you. So you said I'd say Palinha or Sangare and Adams as an extra. Totally agree. Against Sangare, I won't say as much because the reality is I haven't watched him as much, and it scares me a little bit that he plays in Eredivisie in Holland. But Tyler Adams, guys, I would love as a squad player for that midfield. And again, like I said before, he's played right back in the past, so it's a position he can play. And so I would really like him as a squad player because yeah, he has Premier League experience. He's relatively young. I think he's 25, and is he 20, 24? 24, so even younger than I thought. Um, Thank you, Fatuma. I remember your support since the beginning in the previous live, so shout out to you, seriously. Oh, Lel Werewolf, your joke was just FSG. God damn. Salim. Love you too, Humza. Yeah, Amadou Onana, definitely from Everton, but I saw that United is interested in signing him, and they're asking Everton are apparently asking for 50 million pounds for him because he's their best player. So I don't know. Yeah, evil bot. I didn't say that I sleep a lot. I just said that it's super important. Unfortunately, I had insomnia for years, so yeah, not great. Yeah, guys, hashtag Michael102, hashtag water break. Everyone right now, ASAP water break. Mm. Top tier water right there. Seriously, top tier. Wilfred and Didi is another option. 100%. 100%. Iran, thank you. Thoughts on bringing back James Milner? Is that the joke? But seriously, James Milner, looking back now, after letting go, especially after letting go Fabinho and Hendo, I would have kept Milner. That's just my opinion. And apparently, Klopp wanted to keep Millie too. So he's one I think that we have some regrets on. Ah, Abdul, thank you. And Fahad, good on you for drinking water. Thank you, Sir Guy Man Lab. Is there any academy players you know of? Yeah, yeah, there's academy players, but ones that can step up and be our starting defensive mid again, no, no. There's some players that could come in and make a difference this season, and I think Stefan Bajcetic is one to watch because last season he was unbelievable when he was fit, but we can't overplay him because last season when we overplayed him, it led to injuries, and then we'd just be destroying his development. So we can't allow that to happen. I'm still waiting on a pin in one of your videos. Leon Calendar, I will pin you right now. Message pinned. Okay, guys, I'm ending the poll because it's the clear winner is Amrabat. So seriously, shout out to Amrabat because you know he won in a convincing manner out of nearly 600 votes. So he's definitely one to look out for. What I worry is that it seems like United is targeting him more than we are. So I worry that they get him because at the World Cup he really looked class. He looked real good during the World Cup. Chelsea fan, oh Christian, please don't talk about Caicedo or Lavia, please. Don't do it. Um, Zubi Mendy, I will have to be honest, that's a name I've actually heard quite often, and I have no idea as to whether he would be a good signing. I really can't comment on that. But if some of you have watched, then please let me know. Love you too, Leon. Caicedo, okay. Thank you, Luke Boy. Thank you. What is your opinion on all this summer transfer drama? Yeah, that's why. Like, if you guys go back to the beginning of this live, like when it's over, you'll be able to go to the beginning of it. Like, that's when I really talked about my opinion, which is if you take a step back and you look at our management, I think the real issue is in the sporting director situation where we let like for some reason Michael Edwards wanted to step away. Maybe I understand if he wanted a new challenge, I get that because he had been in the role for so many years. But then the fact that he helped Julian Ward in that transition. And then for Julian Ward to step down after 6 months, for me, that's the biggest red flag. And that's the part where I just want answers, but not just answers. I just also would want to know like what's our plan? Like what's our plan? Because clearly George Schmatke is not the answer. Like he came on a 3 month contract short term and he triggered two release clauses and that's it. And yes, it's true, more signings will be coming, but it just hasn't been good enough. That's the reality. Like that's MMS, welcome. Hopefully there'll be a lot more live, so thank you for joining. Uh what did you new poll? What poll do you guys want now? Let's see. I'm gonna give um the next best question I see you guys, I'm gonna pin. Okay, so send in your questions. The I need to be screenshot. What was the poll? The poll was for what defensive mid we should sign. Is Amrabat a possibility? Unfortunately, there haven't been that many links. I would really like there to be a possibility, but it's weird that we haven't seen any links. I love English football. Thank you. You're subbed. Yes. Thank you. Make a poll for center back. There we go. Good, good, good. Leo's goals for sporting director. I will not be the right man for that job. That's for sure. I love this club too much to bring the misery that George Schmatke is bringing to Liverpool fans right now. I am not ready for that role. That's for sure. I would love to know what's happening though. I would love for there to be more questions answered. About like I said before about why Julian Ward decided to step away after after such a short period of being our sporting director. Shout out to Greece. Where are you from in Greece? So guys, let me know in the comments. Let me know what center back you would like us to sign. Left, remember, left, more of a left-sided center back. And I'm gonna put in the first name that I think would be a really great option is Ignacio, Gonzalo Ignacio from Sporting. I'm putting him as the first option, but and guys, again, they need to be realistic, okay? I'm starting to see some of yours. And for example, let's be real, John Stones is not realistic. Leon. Okay, guys, I'm starting to see. Okay, I see. Benjamin Pavard is another name I will put in there because he can play right back and center back, so he's definitely a good option. Thank you. Van de Ven already moved to Spurs, and he actually played quite well, even if he basically scored an own goal. For a year, Toby Edits, thank you for the support. So guys, I'm seeing your the possibilities that you're sending in, and Bastoni is the next one because I'm seeing Bastoni kind of the most because he's one for the present and definitely for the future. And then thank you, Salim. I have him. Marquinhos just isn't realistic. Let's see, guys. I'm waiting for the last name to put in there, and it's Antonio Silva. Guys, I'll be honest, Antonio Silva, I know nothing about. Never watched him play. I just know that he's Portuguese, and that's it. But I'm putting him in the poll because you guys over here have better football knowledge than me. Because, like, yeah, I'll be honest. I'm gonna ask about him after this stream because I'm curious now. But there it is, the poll. So, guys, I put Ignacio, Benjamin Pavard, Bastoni, and Antonio Silva. Let's see what you guys think. These are kind of like the four main options that I saw. And again, I'm gonna remember this and maybe put a video about it too. But the midfield option, again, these are realistic. The midfield option that I saw you guys wanted the most was Amrabat, and now center back. It's looking like after 200 votes, it's looking like Bastoni. It's looking like it's Bastoni, and I'm actually quite surprised because Bastoni, okay, he's 24 years old, plays for Inter. I knew he played for Inter, but I want to see the amount of games that he played last season. Bastoni is a beast. Wow, guys. Wow. Would be amazing. How much do you think Bastoni would cost, though? Jamie Carragher out of retirement. Oof. Oof. I'm looking. Let me just have a quick look. So he's 24. Okay, so he's 24, and yeah, in the Champions League, he was instrumental in Serie A last season. He made 29 appearances a season before 31. Yeah. No, he's. Thank you, Shada. Thank you. I'm gonna check his injury record though, because that's, as you guys know, that's really, really important. So no, actually, it's not too bad. So he's picked up a lot of small injuries, and it looks like, yeah, guys, since he's played for Inter, he's missed a total of 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9 games. Yeah. So injury record check, which, as we know, is super important. Leo at center back. Oof, all I have is pace, guys. Heading is not my thing, so definitely not. Especially given how weak we looked in set pieces against Chelsea. I'm not the answer. Tomori could be another option. Oh, okay, Ignacio is actually coming quite. Oh, Pavard. Wow. Okay, so this is much closer poll. I'm seeing here that Bastoni is at 33% and Pavard 31%. So a 2% difference. I'm going to keep the poll going because maybe Pavard is going to overtake Bastoni. Let's see. Yeah, you see, Jerome thinks that Bastoni would cost between 60 to 75 million. That's too much for a center back, given Like that, I don't think we'd have the money for that. Yo, Johnny's in the building. Welcome. Welcome. My guy. LFC Fangram from Instagram. So he says 50 million for Fabinho from Al Ittihad. Anyone? That sounds like a pretty good deal, guys. Would you do that? I think I would. Given our desperate state right now, I would take him. I think he'd be a decent option. Honestly, we need it. On a real note, though, I talked about it before, but I think it's so crazy the fact that we let Fabinho go, and now we're clearly seeing that we didn't have a plan right away because we still haven't signed a defensive mid. Not only that we needed defensive mid at the beginning of the window, like we knew this like so long ago, but then to sell our only defensive mid without any idea as to how we're going to replace him is just ludicrous to me. Like that's I don't even understand how it's possible. And oof, it's rough. Wow. So look, I was saying that Pavard could overtake Bastoni, and he's now at 33%, and Bastoni's at 31%. So there you go. And Ignacio 30%. So I'm gonna keep this poll going because it's the best one so far because it's real close for all of them. You don't have the poll? Why don't you have the poll? Yeah, F1GI totally agree. Everything that Kara has said on Monday Night Football, I couldn't agree more. And yeah, that's for sure. And I'm glad that he's actually speaking out. Bastoni all day. Didn't you guys see him last year through the Champions League? Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, yeah. Honestly, I didn't watch Inter that much, if I'll be honest, in the Champions League, just because, like, to me, they're more of a defensive team. But obviously, like, look, they got to the Champions League final. Like, he's class. And as I'm seeing with you guys, like, you really, really rate him highly. No way, Rocketon is saying that Firmino's coming to your school. So you go to school in Saudi Arabia? That's mad. Scousers Rising's in the building. Liverpool fans this whole window. That's exactly how we feel. Well, Pavard is really winning now, 34%. Give Bajetic a chance, bro. I definitely agree. But like I said before, we also have to be respectful of him and not overplay him because last season that led to him picking up an injury. It just wouldn't be smart. Sign Leo's goals. He's for free. Thank you, bro. Thank you. But I definitely that would be my biggest nightmare. If I had to play a game for Liverpool Football Club, given how much I love this club, and then if I made a mistake, oh god, that would be rough. Leo at right back. That's actually the position I played when I was on a football team. What's your question, Sarah Wilson? You said you have a question about Mo Salah being subbed off against Chelsea. Wow, Faris, you also go to school in Saudi. Pavard is still winning the poll, but Bastoni's at 31%, so it's real close. I'm gonna keep it going, guys. Fahad, I gotta be honest, Taylor Swift isn't my cup of tea. It's not what I listen to, but again, I'm just so amazed at how like Taylor Swift is just like loved around the world and how her following and her community is just like not just girls like you would think like it's just girls because of, who Taylor Swift is, but like I know a lot of guys that when it got announced that Taylor Swift is playing at Enfield, I got a lot of like my male friends who were like, "Do you know who could get Taylor Swift like tickets?" And that's when I was like, "Damn!" Like that just shows like it's impressive the fact that she's able to, you know, touch so many people. It's pretty amazing. Do you watch any Divik? I don't really watch other sports, but the only other sport I really watch is basketball, and I do have to say I'm really hyped about this season because a French player got drafted number one which has never happened in the history. And so France is going crazy and like so excited for how that's gonna go down in the NBA. Big up Faisal. Sorcerer says, Leo, how much would you be worth in the transfer market at any position? I think zero. If they saw me play, I think zero. But I don't know. I would, yeah, Wemby, exactly, Samuel. Wembanyama. I'm so excited to see how he does in the NBA. Like for France as a country, it's so exciting to see that he's the potential that he has, because it's like he could really take over. Chelsea will pay, yeah, 95 million. Scouts is rising. If I became available in the market and Liverpool wanted to sign me, Chelsea would pay 95 million and offer a 9-year contract. But guess what, guys? I would not accept it because I hate that club so much. I cannot stand Chelsea. Cannot stand them. If you were a professional footballer, who do you think would sign you? Probably a non-league team. If they're being nice, like yeah. Magasa. Oui, Alejandro Marino, je suis français, mais je suis aussi islandais. Alors, je suis moitié français, moitié islandais. Luton. Yeah, Luton. I'm surprised Luton Town aren't making many signings because they obviously got the money to come up. Who switch clips? Switch clips ask who's my dream signing? Apart from Caicedo, it's got to be Chumeni. Like Chumeni, and I have to be honest, guys. Another one that I was so angry about was Kamavinga, and I know he's not like a defensive mid, but obviously we need midfielders. I remember when Kamavinga was available when he was in the French league for 30 million euros. That's how much Real Madrid, guys. That's how much Real Madrid paid for Kamavinga. I think he's such a good footballer and he's so versatile. Like he played at left back for France and he did such a good job. Like this, that's one of those players that I'm just like regret so much that Liverpool didn't go for. Like really back in the day, because he was already top class at like 19, 20 years old. But my dream signing, yeah, I would say Chumeni, and then otherwise, if not Chumeni, it's hard to think of what's like actually possible. But yeah, I would say Chumeni. In your opinion, would you go to Saudi for quadruple pay or stay at Liverpool? I would stay at Liverpool. I would because that's the ultimate dream. If I was good though, again, if it's like my current abilities, then I'd go to Saudi Arabia because I do not want to ruin Liverpool's season and hurt all the Liverpool fans. So if it's like my abilities right now, then yeah, I'd go to Saudi Arabia, even if they paid me half. Do you like Rudy Gobert? Yes, but I gotta say Wemby is the one I'm really hyped about. If you could meet any legend, dead or alive, who would it be? Stevie. And I got to meet him, and it was the most amazing moment because Steven Gerrard is the reason I started supporting this club, and I met him. I met him as well with Jose Enrique. So when I met him, it was I was with Jose and Stevie was there, and we were just like having a regular conversation because they used to be teammates, and it was at the Liverpool training ground, and I was just like, I was speechless. I was just there as they spoke casually because they were just like catching up and stuff. But I remember I was just like, what is going on right now? Like, what is going on? And I was just like freaking out because it was like, it was like seeing Stevie in a relaxed state, like I eventually got a picture with him, but it was like for 10 minutes, we were just kind of casually talking and it's just completely crazy. Stefan Bajetic, bus youngster, thank you. Tricks and stuff. I am gonna pin you. Thank you for the support. So, wow, Benjamin Pavard, I'm going to close the poll because there's now almost 700 votes. But Benjamin Pavard, the Frenchman, the World Cup winner, ended up winning. And I think a big reason, right, is because a lot of you love the fact that he can play right back too, I'm guessing. The fact that he's versatile, that he has the versatility, I mean. So I'm going to end this poll. And, bye, Ariane. Bye bye. Thank you for joining the live. And your question is, I have to. By the way, what do you think about re-signing Genie? So he's at Roma. He's not a PSG, right? But I don't think it's. I think we need to go for someone else because Genie now picked up a really serious injury, and yeah, I think we need to go for someone else. But definitely a Genie type player on top of the defensive mid that we signed, and that's what I think Kefrem Thuram is. That's why when you guys asked earlier about Kone and Thuram, what I would really go for is Thuram as that box to box midfielder with the legs that's always fit like Genie was, but then also sign a defensive mid. That's my dream. If we can get like a Doucouré or a Palinha and get a Thuram, because both of those would be the price probably of Caicedo, that would be my dream. If you guys ask about my dream. Thank you, Michael 102. Thank you. And guys, again, Doucouré, Um, and this is what I said before. You guys are throwing some names around, like Anguissa from Napoli. I've only seen him when Liverpool plays against Napoli, and this goes back to the way I look at players, and I think it's such a great trick. Is I don't like I'll look at a few YouTube videos, but I don't think that really tells you the whole picture because that's like a highlights. Like you can make highlights out of any player, right? But what I love to do is I go straight to the source. I ask the fans of that team, and I gotta tell you, when we started being linked to Doucouré from Palace, and I talked to Palace fans, they're like, please just let us keep him for one more season because they say he's that good that he's surprised that like all the big clubs aren't going for him this summer because he's that good. And so that when I heard that and I saw on Twitter all over kind of the opinion of Palace fans on Doucouré, I was like, wow, we gotta get this guy. Like we gotta get this guy. And I did the same thing with yeah, a number of other players. I just prefer that because again, like I said, they watch those players week in week out, and that's what I want to know. That's really what I want to know. Toby's goals. Oh, you also have goals in your name. Look at that. So Toby's goal says, "Do you think Liverpool will get top four or not? If the window were to shut today, no chance we get top four. But I'm just an optimist, and I still think we're going to sign two midfielders, a center back, and maybe a right back. So I'm still optimist, guys. And I think if we make those signings, like I said, my dream is Doucouré and Thuram because we get that genie type player in Thuram, and we get a defensive mid in Doucouré. Then I think we get top four. And again, I think it's so worth the investment because, as you guys know, you get so much money from being in the Champions League, and with the players that we have in Virgil, Alisson, Mo Salah, these world class players, we can't afford to miss out on Champions League two seasons in a row. It's just not possible. So yeah. Fahad, send a picture of the picture of me and Steven Gerrard is on my Instagram. So if you look up Leo's goals on Instagram, you'll be able to see it. Alejandro Marino, thank you for the donation. I really appreciate that. You guys are seriously the best. So do you support any French team? So what I'll say is the French team I hate the most is PSG. Like I just even though I'm actually I was born in Paris, I'm from Paris, I live in Paris. I despise PSG, and the reason is because, like, again, I think they're polar opposite of what Liverpool have been under Klopp. What I love about football is that it's a team sport. It's not about these big personalities who are at the top of the world like Ronaldo or Mbappe. It's about the team, and that's why PSG is just like all about ego, money, and just the things that I hate about football. So what I would say is the team I support. I wouldn't necessarily there's a specific team, but I do like Lyon just because they're kind of the next best thing in France, and I love their academy. I love the way they handle like their academy and scouting and all those things. And my aunt is actually like closely tied to the club, so like I actually like when the Fakir thing was happening, I kind of had like an insight on that, but obviously that was shambles in the end. But I would say yeah, Lyon is my favorite team. But then why Liverpool? So I'm actually gonna make like a video around that, but to make it into a short story, like why it's Liverpool is because I grew up also in Iceland. I lived 5 years in Iceland, and one of my closest friends is in Iceland called, um, Bjarni. He showed me cassette tapes of Stevie in his younger years, and I saw the passion, I saw the hunger, and I saw, like, what it meant to be a Liverpool player, and I was just like, "Wow, like, this is special." Like, again, and that's why I think we have fans from all over the world. I started this live asking you guys where you're from, and that's the beauty for me. It's like the fact that we're from all over the world, and that we can, even if, like, I'm from France and I see, someone's from India, Australia, wherever it might be around the globe, like, we're still massive Liverpool fans, and we're not any different, to ones that are from the UK. Maybe we have a different relationship to the team, but it doesn't mean we're more or less good fans, if that makes sense. So yeah, so it was really from watching those cassette tapes and then Istanbul and then just like Stevie. Yeah, it was really Stevie, and also again going back to the fact that I'm from Paris and I never liked PSG, so I was always looking for that team. And the funny story actually is my closest friend Thorvaldur in Iceland. He was a United fan, and for a long time he tried to convince me to become a United fan, and I never got that connection. It never felt natural, and so for like a few years I loved football but didn't support a team, and I was waiting for one where I knew I would have this like special feeling. And Liverpool, it's unbelievable because when I watch those tapes I can still remember exactly like where I was positioned, the emotions I felt. And like since that day, as you can see, since that day a long time ago, I've just like absolutely adored Liverpool and never missed a game. Like it's been a crazy journey. But yeah, Thomas, welcome back. Welcome back. Maguire would be the last signing we need. We need pacey young defenders, not a 30-year-old who's slow and poor in terms of possession, in terms of his positioning. Yeah, guys, I'm gonna run another poll here. It was your idea. Reflex, I always see your support. Shout out to you. I think I see a Swiss flag, right? Where are you from in Switzerland? And shout out to you because I always see your comments on the shorts and they're much appreciated. Seriously. Um, Calme Papi, thank you for the donation you sent. Where are you from? So I'm half French, half Icelandic. But the reason you hear the accent is because I lived in New York for 10 years. So that's why I have a bit of an American accent. Hopefully not too American, but now I moved back to France, so it's pretty amazing because I'm closer to Liverpool. I'm closer to where the real football is, and so I'm really really hyped this season to hopefully be able to go to some aways. Like my dream is to be able to go to all the European aways this season. That's the goal, and to create content around that because I think some of the cities that we'll be going to will be interesting. So hopefully that's something that I'll be able to make happen and do storytelling around that for you guys. And Alex Ma, I'm 23. 23. Oh no, I just turned 24. Oh, I don't like getting older. I'm 24. Oh là là, calme papy, merci, merci, c'est une blague. Attends, mais you just gave 2 donations, thank you. T'es par où en France? J'habite à Paris, mais je vais peut-être déménager à Lille parce que comme je vais souvent, actually I'll say it in English because you guys don't speak French, most of you. But he asked like, where are you from in France? So I'm from Paris and I live there, but I'm thinking about moving to Lille, more in the north, because I do go to England quite a lot. I go to Liverpool quite a lot. So like if I was in Lille, which is in the north of France, I would be able to just get to Liverpool by train much easier and in a cheaper way too. So I'm thinking about moving. But Calais says that he's an expat, English. Wait, where are you from in England? Are you from Liverpool? But living in Switzerland, so hence the French. No way, T Max. You used to live in the 5e. My dream is to move to the 5e. I live in the 6e right now. Wow, that's unreal. Walid, how old did you think I was? Anthony, that's way too reactionary that you burnt your Liverpool shirts. Come on. Oh, Mustafa apprend le français aussi. Wow, we got French speakers in the stream, in the chat. Wow. Attends, mais mec, là, tu. Merci tellement, c'est une blague. You're near Freiburg in Switzerland and near Brighton in the UK. So how come you decided to support Liverpool? How come you decided to support Liverpool if you're near Brighton? Bonjour Hadi, ça va? Life could be better, honestly, because as you guys saw, my mood has been like this because of Liverpool Football Club. So I'm someone that always kind of remains optimistic. That's just how I think we should see life. But oh, Calais, mad, merci. Oh la la. Your dad must be from Liverpool, right? Or from near Brighton and then probably have Liverpool descent. Greetings from Germany. Where are you from in Germany? So guys, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to end the live soon because it's almost dinner and I'm gonna have dinner with the family. But yes, Leon, I would like to hear. Send what song you make on a short. I want to see on a short. But but yeah, guys, I want to thank you all. No, Walid, seriously, it's really sad to be ending the live because I had the best time, and I hope you guys had the best time. And like I said, I'm gonna be doing more lives. It's just, I'm working a job on top on, I'm working a job working at a hotel on top of the short, so it's really hard to find the time and the energy. But like I said, you guys, your support is everything, and the more you share the channel, the more you like and support, the bigger of a chance I have to make it full time, and then I'll be able to do this more often, and that's the goal. But like I said, thank you all so much for the support. Like it means the world, and I hope you all have the best night. Shout out to Haha Jean, and I love you all. Hopefully, the next time I make a Liverpool video, hopefully we've signed a player. And yes, guys, bye. I'll see you very soon. Like again, I see the energy in the live and in the chat and everything, and it just makes me want to do this all the time. So seriously, guys, like I can guarantee more lives will come. Like I said, it's just I have to find the time and it'll come. I have confidence it'll come. And so you'll never walk alone, guys. I will see you all soon. It was the best seeing you guys again and hope you don't Bye guys.